It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
And welcome to the realm of geekdom. This is nerd breaking news. New episodes every week whenever we try. So hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell so you can actually get notified when we actually post any nerd breaking news video. And with that, let's go ahead and talk about the season finale of X-Men 97, episode 10. And we're going to start with our guest, Thee Angelo. Go ahead and tell us what you thought about the episode.
Chef's kiss. just a perfect way to land the plane. I mean, I don't have the amount of laudables for this show, man. I really loved it. The nostalgia, the story, the soap opera of it all, the action of it all. I felt like I never had a breath. Like every 5 minutes there was something else making me go, and that was on every episode. Just amazingly written, beautiful way to set the stage for season 2. Can't wait for season 2. Give me X-Men 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. I'll take it all the way to 2024. I thought it was great. I think that the way that they took each character had their own little story and it got fleshed out. And even though the episode was only 30 minutes long, they were able to tell such rich stories. That's just a nod to great writing. And yeah, I loved it, man. I loved it.
Yeah, I actually have a question wondering when is Disney going to go ahead and say, you know what, we need to bring back that writer for season 3 because.
Yeah, and I'm also nervous about that too because the fact that he's getting so much love and is so universally loved and like why haven't they come out and told us what the deal is? Like it makes me kind of feel like maybe it's worse than we think. Because they would have brought him back, right? I mean, this stuff trends every week. It's the biggest thing on social media. Like, I don't get it.
And he did the first 2 seasons. Remember that he did the first 2 seasons. The first season's already done. The third season,
yeah,
he's not involved.
I really need to know
and that one's
story.
under development right now, right?
Without him, so
yeah. So, well, the good thing is that we're gonna have a second season of this incredible writing, incredible storytelling, and just the visuals on it. Oh, for me, at least in this episode, what I really loved was just the large amount of cameos that popped up throughout the entire show. And what was really interesting for me of that was that I grew up watching Spider-Man over X-Men. And I was seeing the Daredevil that was in Spider-Man. I started seeing the original Iron Man and Captain America. I was like, whoa, they really are connecting the entire Marvel universe.
Did you catch that
here with
Mary
this
Jane?
X-Men
Did you
show.
catch that Mary Jane?
I did catch Mary Jane
cameo?
and Peter Parker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. And like you said, it led towards, it did a really great job of leading it towards season 2. And we already know who's going to be the main antagonist for season 2. And that's amazing. I can't wait for the new season. Like it has to come out like next week. that's how amazing this first season was, and I can't wait for season 2 to start.
So let's do. I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna do the good, the bad, and Hugh Jackman. You should have read the script section. Because this has been universally loved. You guys have been praising it. We've been praising it. We all love it. Highest rated show and Rotten Tomato for Disney history. Again, Hugh Jackman.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Read the reviews, Hugh Jackman. Maybe you'll get better. Anyways, the good. I love the idea that Xavier Magneto's, which they'll forever have this brotherly love hate relationship. Their relationship, the ending of how, because again, I was wrong and I thought that Onslaught was going to show up. He will eventually, I think he will, because they're leaning towards that, right? Because they said that they'll lose their mind if he goes a little bit hardcore. So I thought it was going to happen now, but I guess they're saving Onslaught for next season. Yeah, but they're putting in the little breadcrumbs, so that was pretty cool. Um, the idea that the whole X Men team got together and did what they did for against Bastion, and everybody, to D'Angelo's point, for the most part, got a little bit of their story connected towards whole season. There's a couple of people that are here that are going to now transition to the back. Another positive cameos. When Xavier did Magneto's brain, they're going back and forth with the young, their conversation and everything. Go look who Magneto was looking at the boat closely.
Mhm.
And I think that's another, and I'll tell you now, but that's where the creator, like to D'Angelo's thing, you got to give him the chef kiss because he is a master of season one, giving you this, like, hey, you better be paying attention of what I'm throwing in the background because there's so much stuff in the background. For example, when Magneto looked in the water in the boat, he saw three people. He saw his two kids, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and he saw a Polaris, another kid of his. And I'm like, wow. Again, they were not far, but not close enough for you to do that. But again, that shows you the level of detail this guy has and how he knows the comics and all that stuff. Great story. I like the idea that Cyclops got a little bit more. The story of the summers, right, where him and Cable and Jean, the Phoenix came out. Uh, I like the idea that the Jubilee actually got her little time to shine. She actually gave Bastion a little run for their money. It got a little annoying that Bastion, every time you got destroyed, you kind of got a good lick at Bastion. Something happened where he regenerated or something. It's like, God, I can't get a lick at this guy. Um, I like the idea that, to your point, Forge, right, and Bishop in the end, how there's three different apocalypse. There's the past with Beast, Charles, Magneto, and Rogue and Nightcrawler. I think they're stuck in the past with a young Apocalypse. Then the future is Jean and Scott with Rachel Summers and Nathan, a young Cable. And then present time is Apocalypse, and you open up to like a little card insinuating the comic book that Gambit is coming back as one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, which is they have in the comics. So that's pretty cool that we're having three different apocalypse in three different timelines. I think again, chef's kiss. This guy, what do I sign? Here's the blank check. Here's the house. Here's the keys. You're the best. Awesome. That's the great pro of it. The cons is that we got to get some awards for the con, right? We got to get some awards. Jubilee, she pulled the Princess Leia in this episode when she was in space outside of asteroid.
Oh,
Clearly, I didn't realize that she's when she was breathing in space. That's again, guys. We always talk about the idea of probable and possible, right? That's not probable. There's no way she did that. We got to give a Razzie award for this man took more hits than Rudy Gobert last night. Morph, right? He is the Die Hard. He's trying to remake Die Hard. He took mad hits throughout the year, but you got to have a guy that take hits, right? So good job with him. And then for the award, probably the most irrelevant character is Storm. I think that's a little disappointing. How Storm in this episode should have been a little bit more involved than what she should have been. And then, but let's concentrate on Forge, right? Let's concentrate on Forge over Storm. Come on, man. Forge is a level D dude in the comics. He's that guy where
you obviously didn't read X Force, but okay.
Fine, X Force. Let's give him X Force. What's a great storyline with Forge? Let's wait on that.
He has a lot of good storylines with Cable, and Bishop, and they go back and forth and stuff. But
great. So I thought when did Forge came out? 80s, 70s?
I'm not sure.
Cool. So we're gonna give him one storyline for 40 years.
Also, where's Storm? Where's Storm? Right? We saw where everyone sort of landed at. We didn't see where Storm landed.
We couldn't see Storm hitting anybody, let alone landed. Like that's a problem. I think that was disappointing. And then the end, before I pass it off, is that this is universally the best show that Disney's done. Again, the '90s show is amazing. I think this is you're doing this in 10 episodes quickly as possible, like D'Angelo said. So much is going on in every episode, and the fact that it's universally loved and everybody loves the characters, they're respecting Cyclops again, which I love. I always love Scott Summers. And my boy Logan is benched. Where's my cigar, Hugh Jackman? You're whack.
So random.
I got to take a shot at that, the fakest Wolverine ever. But go ahead.
Yeah, he makes his points, and all of a sudden he just takes that last hit just for the hell of it. Like Jackman has nothing to do with it. It is Fox's fault that they decided to go more Wolverine centric than pissing on Cyclops' face, basically, because Cyclops was amazing in this series. Oh my god, I didn't know he was this good. Very interesting. Eagle, what do you think about the episode?
Just following on what you guys have said, I think the show is amazing. I think Disney knew what they had in their hands when they released this. Um, Also, I think, if, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first thing that Disney has done since they got permission or the rights to the X-Men, right? So I
Mhm.
think they hit a
Mm.
home run with this. Regarding the episode, just like Sergio said, I thought it was good, the closure that we saw between Nathan, Scott, and Jean, right? Like I think in the previous episode number 9, I think you see her, trying to eventually cut up to the fact that maybe she can call Nathan her son. She tries to protect him, and then in this episode, it's more about Scott, Scott, and hey, I'm not gonna do what my dad did, which is basically leave and whatnot. So I think it was a really good closure. The whole situation with Wolverine is just surprising, but at the same time, so many stories developing at the same time, interesting, right? Because that's what kept us going. So at the end of the day, even though we all love Wolverine, the character, the fact that the show was able to, last 10 episodes and we didn't miss him at all. If anything, you can make the argument that this show was was literally a show to minimize Wolverine's impact all these years, right? Everyone thought that Wolverine was the main character, and there's many characters, during the time show, during the show, the comics and whatnot. But he became too prevalent, and I think they wanted to do something different. If anything, I think he was catching strays the entire series, and especially when more transforms into Gene, and he basically says like, "Hey, listen, she's not gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I got you. You know, I love you. I'm gonna be waiting for you or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I couldn't stop laughing when he did that. Right? He's Wolverine is probably dying, and Mark knows that the only thing that is gonna bring him back, or basically, maintain him alive, is just go dipping his heart and basically say, "Yeah, we know you love Gene. Just not gonna say it, just putting it out there. We all know this is a lie, but just letting you know, I love you." Okay, he's gonna be
Or,
alive. For
or
what? We
maybe,
don't
or
know.
maybe, maybe is it Morph, asexual? Maybe he really loves Wolverine. He was saying that I love you instead of it
That's
being
that's
Gene.
that's the theory going
Thank
around
you.
Reddit and all the Twitter. That point that D'Angelo made, and if that happens, whatever. Who cares? Doesn't matter. It's just Hugh Jackman. Keep reading. Eventually,
Yeah,
get the
why
script
not?
right.
Why not get another love
Yeah,
story in
yeah.
there?
Yeah, right. Another one, right?
We
I
already
agree
have
with
a
the
couple in
kid.
there. Might as well throw a little gay one right there. Let
Yeah, why
Wolverine
not,
really play
right?
it out.
I mean, listen, with it, clearly the whole situation about discrimination about, no, it wasn't race, but it was about mutants and humans, wasn't enough. A love story doesn't hurt nobody. Um,
I'm all
I
back
agree
for it
with
though.
Sergio. I agree with Sergio regarding Storm. We can also put her in the backseat, right? The thing that probably pissed me a little bit more was the fact that they developed her situation or her storyline in episode 5 and 6, right? Like, she lost her
with
powers
the
and they
bird,
couldn't take it
with the demon getting her powers
with the
back.
demon. Correct. So maybe we're expecting a little bit more because she changed her appearances, right? And you would imagine that she was rejuvenated and her powers came back or even stronger to a certain degree. So I think that was fine. And then at the end of the day, I think that something that maybe we're not giving too much credit, we're focusing too much on the X Men. and the relationships and whatnot. But I think the Bastion and all this, like the evil people, I think they did a really good job. I think the whole process of, you know, through episode 5, we don't really know who's the evil person here, who's the plan master, right? And then eventually Bastion comes up, and you know, he has this master plan, and he has everybody converting into a semi machine and whatever. I thought that was really interesting and something that hasn't been talked about. It kept, at least from my perspective, it kept me doubting whether, hey, is this gonna be one of the situations where the evil event, you know, eventually wins, and we're not gonna see the X-Men, you know, come through and actually save the day, right? Even when they do the Magneto protocol, is that what they call it? When
Yeah,
they
yeah.
fire
Yeah.
the, man, come on, with the timing of that was horrible. You know, but you know, that's the X-Men, and that's the stories, that's how they get it done. 10 of 10, 11, 12 out of 10. It was amazing. Thank God that this guy created the second season. So at least we know that, you know, whatever the wait is, when we go and watch it, we know that it's the same writing, you know, the same thought process. So it's just a continuation. You know, we don't have to think about season 3 for a while. Probably Disney's gonna mess it up, but in the meantime, we know we have season 2. So that's my take.
Yep. Professor.
Okay, so for me, I think overall the entire season was a positive. I think the most amazing thing about the finale is that they gave you like 3 or 4 different cliffhangers at once. So to Angelo's point, you stop and you're like, "Where's Storm? Where's Wolverine? Where's Morph?" And we genuinely have no idea. So maybe there's a fourth Age of Apocalypse that they'll go into. Maybe like a fourth version of Apocalypse, and he's like, "Oh hey, what's up?" Maybe it's Nice Apocalypse. Who knows? And I think that it gives you it can take the story in so many different directions. That's pretty awesome and pretty fun to speculate about. And then you look back at the X-Men who get left behind: Forge, Cable, Sunspot, Jubilee, the characters you don't really care about so much. Maybe by having them separate from the rest, you can actually develop them and flesh them out into something that will resonate better with the fandom. And I think that's pretty cool. Criticisms, though, I do have one, and that's that when you're looking at Bastion, he was going at them so heavy, and Guy was taking so many hits. And I'm like, how are these people alive? He should have killed like half of that. It's like the Game of Thrones ending. It's like the middle of Game of Thrones, where the White Walkers are coming, and you're watching the heroes survive, and you're like, nah, man, there's no way. I had a similar thought there with Bastion, where I'm like, there's no way that everyone's there still intact, all their limbs, everything. Then they try to pull a Naruto move in the end and talk to him. And I stopped and I'm like, come on now, that doesn't make any sense. This man genocided your whole people. And that you're to the Naruto move now and expect that to work?
He turned
That doesn't make
his
any
mother.
sense.
He turned his own mother to an android. Like,
Correct. My guy is committed, okay? He is committed. I think but I think one part of the episode that's really important to the kids' theory about Xavier is that when you heard Bastion, if I'm remembering correctly, when you heard Bastion talking about what happened when Xavier met his mom, it didn't match the story that Xavier told. Because basically, when you're looking at it, Bastion, if I'm remembering correctly, he told Storm, "My mom begged him to take me," and that is not what Xavier told the rest of them. And it goes back, I think, to the kid's point that maybe the professor isn't quite as good as he likes to portray himself as. Maybe Homie's a little bit of a hypocrite. And when you're looking at Xavier's character arc throughout the entire season, he does a lot of really selfish moves. Homeboy pretended he was dead for a year to be in space with his little girlfriend. Didn't even tell anybody. Didn't invite nobody to the wedding. He was like, I'm done. The only reason why he even comes back is that he gets some kind of a vision that Gambit dies. He comes back out of...
You're missing a big part. He was ready to erase all his memories of them.
Correct. Yes, exactly. He comes back. He's like, they need me. And they really kind of didn't when you're looking at it. And he comes back. And I would argue that when he comes back, he might even make things worse. So he pops up. He's there in his little wheelchair. In Asteroid M, Magnus, you must stop. Let's be honest about something. Cyclops is probably better off talking to Magneto than Xavier is at this point. when you're looking at how they're vibing. But Xavier's like, I'm your best friend. And Magneto's like, bro, where you been at? You left me behind here this whole time. What are you talking about?
Mhm.
And then after all that, he decides to go into Magneto's mind at the last second. And the thing is, when you're looking at it, to me, that plot point only half makes sense. Because why not just use why not just tell Magneto, hey, by the way, before we fight, can you just wipe out all the Prime Sentinels real quick, and then we can talk about doing the whole thing with the Earth's atmosphere? But rather than do that, he's like, no, I'm gonna go into your mind. I'm gonna violate you. His best friend. And then in the meantime, Magneto's like, bro, this ain't right. What you doing up in here? That's too far. That's too far. After Homeboy gets stabbed, that's not a very good friend. That's not a very good friend. I'm just saying. Maybe we need to rethink this professor thing. And I think that if the show goes into that direction, to one of the kids' points, that's going to be awesome. Where you realize that not only was Magneto right, but Xavier's also like one of the wrongest people on Earth, and that most of this is his fault.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna piggyback because I was dying to say that and you stole the thunder. I was gonna say it now. It's my turn. How the hell did Bastion lose? How did he lose? He was. I thought I was Rudy Gobert when I had to rewatch the episode twice.
Correct.
I had to make sure Rudy Gobert was not around it because these people were getting cooked. There was Jubilee had the shot of her life that she's never gonna get another shot like that again. And Bastion said, anyways, where's my mustard and this ketchup? Like it's just Cyclops. There was how many times in the episode, guys? How many times in the episode did they fight Bastion? Look at Cable. He literally took his arm off. This is Cable.
And just whacked him with it.
Cable is close to an OP mutant, and he got mocked.
Well, not only did he take his arm, he took his arm and took the technology and
the technology
Thank you, Thee Angelo.
And allowed
exactly.
him to, okay, so he got digivolved. and he was putting La Palita on all these people, and then for whatever reason, every single time, and that's what another criticism, Jay. Every single time somebody comes in and Rogue, he had Rogue by the throat. And here comes Sun Scrub. Oh, right on schedule, Sun Scrub. He comes in, he does his little fire thing, and then he gets mocked. Cyclops should have died, to be honest. Cyclops was fighting him, and Cyclops was giving him the fight of his life. And you know what Bastion was doing? All right, man, are we done? Come on, man. You're going to lose.
Yeah, it's crazy you say that because I was thinking about it, looking back at the episode. It took Phoenix to come back to stop him without the Digivolve.
and then Phoenix says, I'm gonna do this one thing and I'm out. Bye. What do you mean? I'm like, you're not gonna stay? Like what?
Oh no.
That does not make sense.
When he let Cable there and he flew off, I'm like, that's bad writing. Because I would take care of Cable now. The last guy who time travels here? Cable. Why would you allow the guy who could potentially alter your future? And then just to confirm, because I have you guys here, just to confirm, Bastion lost because the missiles were like the Eagle was saying, right? Because the Magneto protocols. That's why he lost, right? Because Cyclops was talking to him, saying, "Hey, bro, listen, it is what it is. We're gonna eradicate what you did. Let bygones be bygones." But my understanding was that what killed him. It wasn't the X-Men. Let the record show the X-Men didn't beat this dude. He destroyed them.
Well,
it was
to that point. I have another thought about that. So I'm thinking to myself, like, they show a shot of the president in the Oval Office, or I guess the War Room, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're talking to Captain America and shit. And they're like, all right, he nods his head for the Magneto Protocol, which is basically just send a bunch of nukes to hit the asteroid. Yeah. But if Bastion was going to use the asteroid to hit the Earth, and you want to nuke it to, like, what were you trying to accomplish with that? Like, you would have got the same effect. This is Armageddon all over again. Like, you're turning one bullet into a shotgun spray. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
That's a great point. And I didn't see Bruce Willis coming to save the day. Correct. Correct. So to your point, that's actually a great point, because if asteroid, and by the way, Jay, didn't you say that Magneto, whatever, without Xavier, ironically, because Xavier's the one that cut to the Eagles' point, he's the one that started the beef in the previous episode. Hey, Magnus, I'm still gonna whatever. Without Xavier, that they don't stop that asteroid M. Enable, in other words, that connects us to what Magneto did. Because without Xavier giving him that whole flashback, hey, you're not that bad, it is what it is. Magneto, they all died from that asteroid. Look at them. They all did their powers, and the asteroid was still coming at that velocity. Magneto was the one who was able to save the day. So if you actually think about it, they pulled Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Last Ark. with or without you, the story would have happened.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree.
And then,
So-
granted, if they were there talking to Magneto peacefully, like, and then missiles would have come, Magneto would have been like, "What's that?" And they all would have
Yeah.
went away. And then
Yeah.
he probably would have been like, "Let's nuke them back." And there you go. And Rogue would have been like, "Yeah."
Which, by the way, now they're back in the past because it's 3 different apocalypse. Magneto better not catch any L's in the past. You have such a technology advantage. If you lose the past, man, that's rough.
Secondly, my guy is stabbed up in 3000 BC. He ain't got no infections. Like, he ain't got no tetanus, no flu. Like, he's just fine. Wolverine literally stabbed that man in the back and through the chest. My guy should be done. And he done moved a whole big mega asteroid. Come on now.
Jay, by the way,
now.
that's a great point. All they did was they duct taped him. I didn't see
Correct.
a damn doctor. I didn't see no doctor.
Correct.
There was no ER. I didn't see George Clooney. There was nothing. It was just a straight duct tape. Hey, get back in the battlefield. Bro,
Correct.
you got Wolverine. I don't know a lot of people who could take that shot from the back and still say, hey, I'm good. I'll be back to work tomorrow.
Yep. Nobody has any healing powers. What are we doing here?
And he's an older guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man.
Go along.
Whack.
Take this.
Well, we will have to see what would happen next in season 2 when it does come out. So for now, thank you for tuning in. Whether you are a human or mutant trying to join the X-Men, keep your fandom alive and your warp drive engaged. Until next time, fellow nerds, this is Nerd Breaking.